AIDS. It just ends with AIDS. Okay. Right there. Ooh, I like this. Pay Piggy. Ooh, pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay Piggy. Band-Aids don't give you AIDS. Pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay Piggy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Pay Piggy. Don't make me go back to 9 to 5. Pay Piggy. Wage cock ain't no way to be alive. Pay Piggy. Pay Piggy. Don't make me go back to that 9 to 5. Pay Piggy. I want to feel like I am so alive. Pay Piggy. Pay Piggy. Pay Piggy. Don't make me go back to my 9 to 5. Pay Piggy. I like that. Actually, that's okay. I'm kind of liking that. AIDS. It just ends with AIDS. Okay. Right there. Ooh, I like this. Pay Piggy. Ooh, pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay Piggy. Band-Aids don't give you AIDS. Pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chance. Pay Piggy. Just give me one more super chat. Pay Piggy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Pay Piggy. Don't make me go back to 9 to 5. Pay Piggy. Wage cock ain't no way to be alive. Pay Piggy. Hey Piggy. Fashions. Don't make me go back to that 9 to 5. Fashions. 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 Met Gala fashion. Oh yeah, baby. What's up? How y'all doing tonight? Hope you're having a wonderful evening. I had to tell Jamie after we watched Adaptation not to have affairs with Florida men. Because if you don't remember, in Adaptation, the star is Florida Man. No affairs with Florida Man. Keep that chastity belt as best you can. I says, no affairs with Florida Man. He drives around in a rapey van. There's burritos and flan in the floor. I says, no affairs with Florida Man. Right, Jamie? Keep that chastity belt locked up like you can. Tight as a tin can. No affairs with Florida Man. Unless it's an affair with me, baby. Right? Because I'm a Florida man. Sort of. I got on my teeth, though. Methy little bitty Florida man. He tries to chew as best he can, but he's methy Florida man. 80K, baby. 80K, you know what it means when it's 80K? It's just a party. It's just a party. Don't come expecting high IQ. Okay, there's going to be a little high IQ. We are going to do a pretty in-depth analysis of Adaptation. I got to have a little bit of meat for the meat boys out there. A lot of sour pusses that don't want to have fun. A lot of sour pusses. Where are you posting these weird videos? Sour puss. Right? No more sour pusses. We can look at a couple classics. Remember the Manson song? I still like that. That's one of my classics right there. Do the Charles Manson. Got that whole club dancing at Charles Manson. We're just having fun tonight. Already getting super chats. Thank you so much. Yes, tonight definitely we want to support the stream. We want to have fun. Got my old classic hat on. That thing's hot though. I'm taking it off. Musty. That's a Florida man hat. I got that hat in Florida actually. We're celebrating. I did hope to time it. That's why I gave it a few days. I thought, well, maybe by third day we're gonna get 80,000 or 90,000, excuse me. And we're only 200 shy. We almost got there. But that's okay. I think we've done multiple celebratory streams before I actually hit the amount. So it's kind of like The Office, right? Like we always looking for a reason to have a party around here. That's fine. Oh, yeah. No affairs with Florida man. Make a pact as best you can. I says, Jamie, you can't sleep with Florida man. Y'all getting wild. You're like, I thought he couldn't sing. Boy, he could break it down. Can't sing. Psh, give me a break. Everybody makes that dumb boomer joke like, oh, don't quit your day job. If I give a super chat, will you stop singing? Charles Manson. Charles Manson. Now I'm dancing. Charles Manson. Charles Manson. Do the Charles Manson. Charles Manson. Charles Manson. Charles Manson. Charles Manson. See how easy it is? I told you. That's a damn hit right there, dude. People were like, when are you going to do Young Boomer? Young Boomer. Young Boomer. Young Boomer. Got that flip flop. In a drop top. All we do around here, I torture Jamie with constantly playing the 4 or 5 songs that we have out there. So I did enjoy everybody's messages. Shout out to everybody this past couple of weeks who is just barraging me about Pay Piggy. Everybody's like, Pay Piggy's in my head. Pay Piggy's in my head. My wife is furious at you. She won't listen anymore because you got that stupid Pay Piggy song echoing through the halls of our domicile. But that's how it works around here, right? Remember we did a Jordan Peterson song too? Was it like a Jordan Peterson rap? Remember that? Jordan Cooper. Hell no. Who is Jay Dyer? Oh man, I'll never find that. Jordan, I gotta put Jordan Peterson. We're not gonna be watching all these stupid old clips, but it is a party stream. You were warned. You was warned. You was warned. I don't know. I can't find that one, but y'all remember it. That's okay. If you would hit like and share, we're going to be talking about a couple movies. It's just going to be fun tonight. Thank you for those super chats. Remember, the super chats are important. Keep the show going. Everything has blowed up in the last couple months, especially. Really happy for Lord Voldemort. Is a shout out to Lord Voldemort. I was hoping we could get to 100, but you know how that old algorithm works. Doesn't give us a lot of help, so it's difficult to get up to 100. And we've done Nic Cage movies back to when we hit 50,000. Remember the 50K party? That was a lot of fun. And then I think we did Nicolas Cage at 70,000 as well. Maybe 75. But I think when we hit 100, Lord willing, we'll do something different. We'll switch it up. But also wanted to do it quick because Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent is in theaters right now, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. Nicolas Cage has a history of meta movies, meta narratives. If you don't know about that, we're going to be talking about that tonight. It's a common literary device. Also gets into more esoteric metaphysical things too. Breaking the fourth wall, meta narratives and so forth. Ties over into things like dimensions, ties over into things like sometimes Gnosticism, sometimes I guess you could say real theology in a way, because the director, the screenplay writer is a kind of God character, kind of creator. And we'll see that kind of hinted at in Adaptation a little bit, but it's not the main theme of the movie, of course. And then we get Nic Cage coming back about 20 years later in a meta role with Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. So he does seem to have a penchant for meta narrative roles, for breaking the fourth wall, nouveau shamanic. It was awesome to see all the tropes and the jokes that we've been doing for years here referenced in the movie. And if you've seen Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, then you also notice the CIA Hollywood stuff referenced. It's almost, I don't know, but it's almost like maybe they read a certain book that might be out there. I don't know. I like to think that maybe they have, but I don't know if that's the case. So before people decide I'm schizo, and he's schizo, dude, he thinks Nicolas Cage is reading his writings. He's freaking schizo. We got him. Clip it. Expose him, dude. Expose him. If you would hit like and share. Does nobody like Nicolas Cage? I don't understand. It's a weird thing that's always been just for fun, right? Like, I grew up, if you grew up in the 90s or the 80s and the 90s, then, you have to have seen Nicolas Cage movies. And so it's always this thing where it's like, why is he always talking about Nicolas Cage? I don't always talk about Nicolas Cage. It's just a thing that is just funny. I don't know. He's a character. He's just a wild character. He's in many movies that I grew up with and enjoyed. His whole career is kind of a very odd adventure roller coaster story arc itself. And it became a thing in the 2000s to really hate on Nicolas Cage, which didn't make any sense because, he was still a good actor. He might have taken a lot of bad roles, but he's not an untalented actor. He obviously is like a super talented actor. And then it kind of came this thing to meme and make fun of Nicolas Cage as if he was bad when he's not actually a bad actor. And then he's good at dramatic and comedic roles. And then he kind of achieved meme status, which then made he went from hipster irony cool to actually being popular again. So it was a fascinating internet story arc. I'm trying to think of somebody else who did the same thing, who went from the masses deciding that it wasn't cool. You kind of saw that with Charlie Sheen right before he got sick. Remember, he was acting all crazy, tiger blood, bro. And then he was memed into mad status. Remember that? When Lord Voldemort was hanging out with Charlie Sheen and they were going out on yachts and whatever Alex Jones was up to at that time, and talking to all these Hollywood people. And then it became fun and cool because he just got memed with all that Tiger Blood stuff. So it's kind of like the same thing with Nicolas Cage, like as if he was bad or something like that, because he had. But a lot of actors go through these sort of ups and downs, right? And just in terms of how the public perceives them, not talking about their actual talent or whatever. But it's not the first recent hit either. There's several other Nicolas Cage hits that we've enjoyed. We did breakdowns of Mandy. I enjoyed Color Out of Space. Joe was good, of recent note. Pig was all right, but Willy's Wonderland was a lot of fun. Kind of a tongue-in-cheek B horror, but it did include some interesting occult elements that are worth mentioning. But I don't think we've actually covered Lord of War either. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit because if you don't know, that's actually based on my publisher's book. So that movie is kind of loosely referencing, I think it's one of Daniel Eslin's books about Victor Bout, the Ukrainian organized crime arms dealer who was utilized by the CIA. Fascinating story there. And we've also, and if you've not seen Lord of War, I highly recommend going and watching it. I will be spoiling it, of course, because it does kind of, the analysis requires talking about the end of the movie. And I was thinking about Peggy Sue Got Married because we haven't done it either, and we've done so many Nicolas Cage movies. I think we've touched on it, but we're not going to be giving like a super hardcore breakdown. But if you remember in the 80s, there was a consistent slew of time travel movies, and one that gets forgotten is Peggy Sue Got Married, which is similar in ways to Back to the Future. Like you're going back to the 50s and you're having to interact with your mom and your dad, and there's these weird Oedipal elements going on and this kind of stuff. But I think most relevant is the Masonic stuff, which we'll look at in a minute. But yeah, so tonight I just thought we'd have some fun with Willy, Adaptation, Lord of War, and Massive Talent. But the main thrust of the analysis obviously will be the most philosophical of tonight's films. Lord of War, very geopolitical, conspiracy oriented. The most philosophical would be, of course, Adaptation. And I was trying to think of other like super philosophical movies that you could just do an analysis of that. They don't make these anymore. Have you noticed that you don't really see philosophically oriented movies anymore? I mean, it's like the culture has so degraded, everybody's so dumbed down that nobody's going to get your references, right? So it's not just the auteur who can't make a movie anymore. You can't make a philosophically sophisticated. It doesn't even have to be that sophisticated. Think about I Heart Huckabees, an independent existentialism based movie with your boy Marky Mark. Could do a whole analysis of the existentials in there. Think about, I think Adaptation, I would consider it postmodernism or nihilism. So if you think about Waking Life, which we have done, totally 100% neo-Gnostic. 100%. No question about it. In fact, it really becomes evident when it gets to the sequence where they're talking about Philip K. Dick's worldview. And that Philip K. Dick believed that we had gotten stuck in a side chain timeline in the middle of the book of Acts. So it's like somehow he stumbled into some weird Gnostic version of full preterism, that the second coming has already happened, but we're in an alternate timeline. Do you know he believed that? Isn't that weird? Which we are going to be doing some of that. I'm almost some of the PKD books. Because I'm almost done with Hideous Strength. But like I said, it's a lot more dense and sort of philosophically oriented than I expected. C.S. Lewis is literally talking about the eugenics / transhumanist quote conspiracy, and I was really surprised with that. Like, I did not expect it to go that deep. But let's start with just a little bit of Peggy Sue. Did you remember the weird, Nicolas Cage is actually really funny in this, just as a goofy kind of side character. He's her boyfriend when she goes back in time. And the weird part about this movie isn't the Oedipal elements. It's actually the Masonic Lodge where she time travels. But looking back on this, I'm thinking more like, is this actually really about time travel, or is the lodge element about mind control and like ritual processing her into thinking that she's undergoing these experiences when it's just a reference to mind control? I don't know. We'll see. But let's watch a couple of these clips with our boy tonight, who couldn't be here in person, but he's here with us in spirit. Old Nick.
Blah. Blah.
Charlie?
Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh. Skipping the song because the songs are always what ding the freaking copyright thing.
I think so, you know. It happened, but not with you. It's, believe me.
I also want to suck your Twinkie.
Your love machine?
This is the best part.
Your throbbing thrill hammer? Your thing?
You mean my Huang?
You mean my Huang?
Yeah, there was no point to this if you were looking for some sort of deep mystical meaning. It was just him like,
You mean my Huang?
just a classic line. By the way, so when she resolves her issues, what is it that Peggy Sue has to do? She has to go to the lodge, and there's no clip of it. You can't find any clip of this online unless you go watch the movie. But they take her into the lodge and they do a ritual, and she passes out. There's some Hollywood symbolism for you, right? And she passes out and then wakes up in the right time. But again, I don't really think that it's about that time travel. Is this a Masonic mind control movie? Well, look who references the movie. Freemasonry in film, the Grand Lodge of British Columbia points out that this is a Masonic reference. So if you're looking for an alternate, weird, esoteric, tinged version of Back to the Future, you can watch Peggy Sue Got Married. And I can't play the lyrics or the audio here because it'll ding it as well. But if you remember in Lord of War, a lot of people hated on this movie, but it's actually not that bad of a film. The message is good because the reveal at the end of the film has arms trafficking basically run by the CIA. And it's a general who you find out is the one that's kind of handling and coaching Nic Cage the entire time as the sort of Ukrainian arms dealer. And the funny part of the beginning is that he pretends to be a Ukrainian Jew. He's not, but he's just pretending to be because it's seen in that community as a way to, gain credibility, street cred or whatever. And so he just basically works his way up and becomes an international arms dealer. And the whole time you're thinking that he's on the run from the feds, he's on the run from the DEA, he's on the run from the CIA, and the very end, right? He gets this thing handed to him out of a limo by it's like a packet of information by a general, and I mean that's how it all works. So it's a very revealing, accurate film, and it's not just that; it's also like he goes to these war-torn areas to fund both sides of various conflicts, like in Africa. A big part of it's when he goes to Africa and do you do the brown? And you're watching the movie, like, what the heck is brown brown? You're thinking it's something to do with, shit or whatever. And it's like, no. You need to snort the brown brown. And if you remember when he snorts brown brown, it's heroin. It's opium mixed with gunpowder. And he has like the craziest trip ever. This is also a theme in Nicolas Cage movies, which is the shamanic. Going on the shamanic journey, which does occur in Massive Talent. The shamanic drug trip journey. It does not occur in an adaptation to Nicolas Cage. It does occur with Meryl Streep. But the greatest part about this movie is just that the entire time you're watching it, you think he is on the run from, the authorities. And it also has him in the midst of the Cold War, right? Arming different sides of conflicts. The CIA comes in. Well, you think that it's him working solo, but he like takes over all of these old Soviet armaments that were no longer, they're just kind of sitting around in a warehouse, right? And then again, the big reveal is just that at the end, I think I had a clip of it. Yeah. This, he thinks he's about to get in trouble or whatever, and this limo pulls up. And let me find it. Yeah, I think this is it. I can't play the sound because I'm afraid it's going to ding it.
That day didn't mean they wouldn't make me a scapegoat the next. But I was back, doing what I do best.
شمسية بدك للصحراء؟
شمسية للشمس.
يلا مع السلامة مع السلامة. يلا مع السلامة سلام.
I mean, imagine being so naive as to think that the arms racket isn't run by intelligence. I mean, just how stupid can you be, right? And that's part of the myth, the narrative that normies believe, that's the cathedral story that's told in the mainstream world, that there's all these organic actors out there, cartels and terrorists and arms dealers. And then lo and behold, come to find out, one of the most famous arms dealers, Victor Bout, was used by the CIA. A lot of people have never heard of this, by the way. They don't know this story. And, The Intercept covered it. Exactly. And again, the Estelun's book covers it, which is my publisher's basis for that Nicolas Cage movie. In the late evening of December 15th, 2014, agents of the DEA took Flaviu Georgescu, an American citizen from Romania, into custody. He'd been meeting with a Colombian man who claimed to be the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, FARC. And then eventually he's told, I'm with the CIA, right? Over the next several hours, Flavio told agents about his proposed deal, how a Southern California man introduced him to Colombian drug lords seeking weapons, or the FARC, I should say. And that night, he helped DEA agents lure Massimo de Montenegro to be detained. And skipping down, Flavio says he was not trying to complete an arms deal, but was quietly collecting evidence about the arms for the CIA. And then it goes on. So this guy turns out, so he ends up working with the CIA is the story. I'm trying to get to the Victor Bout part, so we don't care about that dude. Okay, here's Victor Bout. Does he look like Nicolas Cage? I guess with the mustache, Nicolas Cage kind of looks like him a little bit, but yeah. So basically, it ends up being everything that I'm telling you about, right? I mean, you can't have a giant fleet of aircraft delivering arms all over the world, and they don't know about it, right? Just think how silly that is. But of course, that's what normies and mainstream media would have everybody believe. I wonder if I could play this without it getting dinged, what they would say.
Because of his ability to arm terrorists targeting the United States. A former...
What? He was arming terrorists? What about dude? Yeah, but
military officer, Buddhist...
Like, he couldn't do this without being an asset. I mean, it's just so, it's so transparent.
By powerful friends and long considered untouchable by law enforcement. But 3 years ago, the DEA devised a bold undercover operation to capture him.
Anyway, of course, this 60 Minutes thing, it's never going to tell you that he's a CIA asset. But if you get the book, which is a really good book, by the way, by my publisher, it will go into quite a bit of detail about Victor Bout. So that's the book. The Merchant of Death, as they called him. So here is the intercept piece, which you might find relevant to what we're talking about. So yeah, so that's why Lord of War is so good. But it's funny how many people have no idea. Number one, that intelligence agencies run the black markets, and number two, that he's another one of these kind of sold, like fable, like an invented villain that was the whole time just a kind of an establishment character. Did I have Adaptation? So I can't play the songs, but I've forgotten that this starts out with that meta narrative with John Malkovich. Did you guys remember that? And he's sitting there and he's like, "Excuse me, this is John Malkovich, and we're going to need everyone to be on point today. Cyrus the Virus," right? Remember how, like, he in real life he acts like Cyrus the Virus. Just something about John Malkovich is just creepy. He's a creepy dude, is he not? And at the beginning of the movie, I forgot that he talks about that, right? He's like, "Excuse me." It's a scene from the filming of Being John Malkovich, because Charlie Kaufman, that's his film too, right? So then Adaptation is what would you call this? A postmodern Nietzschean nihilist satire of, it's got a little bit of existentialism in it too, of the film adaptation process, but it's also a philosophical exploration of the Holy Grail quest, or the lack of meaning in life, or finding meaning, the fleeting nature of existence. And it was interesting to go back and watch this, because I remember I watched it when it came out, and that seems like forever ago. 2002. Wow, 20 years ago Adaptation came out. I remember when it was brand new. And I was taking undergrad classes at the time, and just starting to do philosophy. I'm surprised we didn't do this movie, because I had so many classes on lit and philosophy, history and philosophy, film and philosophy, literature and film, philosophy of film, and we never did Adaptation. But it's a pretty philosophically dense movie. And you have the neurotic Charlie Kaufman character, very Woody Allen-esque, and Nic Cage did a great job playing a Woody Allen, if you know what I mean, right? Yes, Woody Allen. Nicolas Cage will play Woody Allen. with his neuroses, right? And he plays it perfectly. Again, proving Nicolas Cage is extremely talented, right? He can play all these roles, play all these really weird characters. But he's not just a man with a Woody Allen with neurosis. He's also a multiple personality. And the reason that they use this trope is because he's mocking the overuse of this in film, right? So it starts out with this character who is trying to adapt this weird story about a Florida man seeking the elusive blue orchid. And so he consistently from the beginning starts to break the fourth wall, which is weird because you don't usually see that at the very beginning. It might take place later on. I mean, I guess it kind of takes place early on in Massive Talent, but the fourth wall is like, it's an older literary device. Obviously it goes back to the like ancient Greek literature, but if you think of it in Midsummer Night's Dream, it's central to that story because it's a play within a play, right? And you don't see this anymore because it's a kind of a philosophical concept, and it's like what every normie thinks is deep. It can be deep. I'm not dissing it, but like, what my point is that we're so far down the rabbit hole in terms of the degradation of culture that even just something that's meta, just something that breaks the fourth wall, is like too much for people. And that's pretty sad. Like, we're at the point where like that's too much. Like, people can't follow that. And the irony of this movie is that there's a there's a doubling going on, right? So Charlie Kaufman's character has multiple personality, and there's another version of him who's the cool version of him, right? His idiot, goofy brother, who's a twin, and his idea of what a movie is completely formulaic, completely silly, completely cartoonish. But ironically, it's the opposite of what his character is. And he actually needs some of that because he's too far out. He's too far in left field. It's too dark. He's too brooding. He's too much of a, incel stuck in his head. And did you catch that at the very beginning when he's trying to figure out how to start the screenplay? Did you catch that he's reading Hegel? Which is kind of absurd. I enjoyed the absurdist element there because, I mean, there's no more absurd figure that would have nothing to do with a film about flowers and life, right? Like passion and life. And he's reading the Cambridge Companion to Hegel. That's genius, right? That was actually really funny. But our main character, as I said, he's a loser. He can't get a girlfriend. He keeps referring to himself in self-deprecatory fashion. I'm fat, I'm a loser. And, he had success with being John Malkovich. And so now the pressure is on him for the next adaptation, which is this weird story that this blue check journalist woman writes about the elusive blue orchid thing. So he wants to make it this allegory for life and the fleeting nature of existence and how you can never find your holy grail. You can never be satisfied, and everything just falls away in time, right? And the dumb brother's like, oh, your movie just needs like sex, drugs, and explosions. Like, why don't you put in some organized crime, some sex, and some murder? And he's like, that's not what this movie is. He's like, what about a story where just nothing happens? Right? Like, wasn't that the whole plot of Seinfeld? They're like, what is this show about? It's about nothing, right? What about a show where nothing happens? And that's what originally Kaufman thinks he's going to do. But the more he sticks to this weird idealistic picture that he has of reality, which is a weird blending of idealism and nihilism. So he's an idealist. He's reading Hegel. But at the same time, he's like, but reality has no meaning. It doesn't have any existence. Nothing actually ever happens. There is no passion. It's just he's a miserable person. And then he realizes that some of what's in the domain and the realm of cheesedom, the cheesy, that his brother represents, this split personality version of him, who is a success with women. All the women love him. He's really funny. He's outgoing. He's, always joking around. But he is totally just an idiot, right? And he stumbles into successfully writing a screenplay from a formula, right? So he goes to some guy's like formula class on how to write a screenplay, and it turns out that's the hit. That's what everybody wants, right? They don't want your existential philosophy movie. They want a story where something happens, where the characters develop. He's like, well, I'm tired of that, right? Sometimes things don't happen. Some of the characters don't develop. Life just happens and nothing comes out of it. And so he's contrasted not just with the double, but with the Florida meth man, which is actually pretty funny. He's utilizing the local indigenous Seminole people to extract the flowers so that he can synthesize drugs from them. But the state can't prosecute the Seminoles because of the indigenous people laws, because it's their religious right, to pick the flowers in their homelands or whatever. But he's actually running like some kind of like, it doesn't say or explain what drug. It's just some weird drug, right? It's like basically meth, right? And he's missing teeth. He's Florida man. He drives around in a van. But what's ironic is that there's a specific sequence where he says, no, all of the characters are me. So we know that the neurotic protagonist, God character who's writing this story, in a way, these are all his adaptations, his version of everyone. And at one point he says, all this is a solipsistic, narcissistic exercise in self-reference or something. He may have some line like that. And I thought this was actually really instructive for our purposes, philosophically speaking, because the worldview of the atheistic nihilist person, like the protagonist Charlie Kaufman character, that's an excellent portrayal of that worldview, that mindset. And nothing has meaning. Nothing gives him or drives him to have passion. He can't love. He tries to love himself, but he doesn't, because again, if you're in that lost worldview, the more that you love yourself, which you think is going to make you happy, like serving and worshiping yourself, actually just makes you more and more miserable, right? So it's like an Ouroboros, which he actually references at one point in the movie. The dumb brother comes in and he's like, oh, I want to use an Ouroboros for the character. I think it'd be really neat. He's like, do you know what it means? He's like, yeah, it's like a thing eating itself. And he's like, yeah, but that's not what it is. And they have this debate over the Ouroboros, but in reality, the Charlie Kaufman character is experiencing that in his nihilistic worldview, that he's eating himself. He is the Ouroboros. And kind of like the symbolism of being John Malkovich, being trapped in people's heads and whatnot, and multiple personality disorders and that. You got the same thing going on here, except, and he mentions, he references all these modern movements as well. There's a reference to deconstructionism. There's a joke about that the serial killer movie should be the deconstructionist. That's his serial killer name, and he breaks off little pieces of people, and he sends those to the cop. Right? That's they're making fun of the formulaic serial killer tropes. But what's interesting is that the story contains an element of deconstructionism, because as the story progresses, it just keeps breaking down meaning. Everything gets questioned until he decides there's no meaning in anything. So how can I make this movie if there's no meaning? I can only make a story about there being no meaning. It's very Wittgenstein, word games, language games. It's presuppositional circularity. Adaptation is a postmodern presuppositionalist film. Why would I say that? Because it dispenses with the mythology and the lies of progressive modernism. We're just getting better. Everything's evolving. And by the way, did you notice the many references to evolution throughout the movie? So there's all these references to evolutionary theory, the Big Bang. And he finally comes to a point where he's like, And Hegel has a process philosophy, evolutionary theology too, keep in mind. So that's not antithetical to Hegelianism either. But by the way, did you know that before methy people stole carburetors, they would steal flowers? Did you know that? I lost my train of thought. I was talking about presuppositionalism. Oh, because it dispenses with all the illusions of progressivism. You could think of something like Fight Club. Right? Fight Club is similar to this in terms of the philosophy of the film because, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying, I'm not advocating for nihilism. But existentialism and nihilism, and you see this in Notes from the Underground, if you listen to Tristan and Bayes, the lit analyzer, talking about Notes from the Underground, you see that the underground man exemplifies modern man. He exemplifies the attitude of a person who progresses philosophically the way Western philosophy progresses. And so the Enlightenment eats itself like an Ouroboros, gives rise to existentialism, Nietzscheanism, nihilism, postmodernism. Because no longer is the myth, the grand narrative of perpetual eternal progress sensible. And all that really makes sense is collapse, destruction, chaos, pure chaos. And that is the point at which man reaches out to God. You see. Now, in this movie, there's no explicitly Christian themes. However, there is redemption. There is hope because the Charlie Kaufman character realizes that no, life does have meaning. And the goofy formulaic screenwriter guy, right, he leads the seminar on how to write the formula for a movie. It requires the continual humbling of Charlie Kaufman to get to the point where he interacts with that guy at one of his seminars. He just finally breaks down and says, all right, I'll have to go to the seminar. I got to get help because I can't end this movie. I don't have an ending for this movie. And it's almost like a preacher congregant exchange, right? The old guy's up there yelling at him and preaching at him and basically saying, you're an idiot. You are missing the whole point of life. And it's almost, again, it's not a Christian conversion, obviously, but he comes to the end of himself in the same way that, remember how we analyzed Groundhog Day. And we noticed that which is a philosophical Nietzschean eternal return film. There's actually references to that in the screenplay, by the way. It's an existentialist Nietzschean film. The Bill Murray character in Groundhog Day comes to the end of himself in much the same way as the neurotic Charlie Kaufman, narcissistic, nihilistic, atheist man comes to the end of himself. And that's the point at which, when we're at our lowest point, when we come to the end of ourselves, then we're ready for the transcendent. Then we're ready for God. Then we're ready for the divine. But there has to be the process of the character's humbling. Right? That's the part of the hero's quest. We saw this with the Northman. Right? Your boy Stellan Skarsgård. He had to come to the end of himself. He had to be humbled. Because the protagonist never listens to the wise sage characters on his quest. He has to be humbled. And then he can achieve apotheosis. So throughout the film, there are many. The orchid represents, it symbolizes a lot of different things. It symbolizes sexual fulfillment in a mate. It symbolizes gratification. It symbolizes the Holy Grail. It symbolizes the unattainable quest. It symbolizes perfection. And we find out that really you're not going to get that, right? It's pointless to go after that. And that's when he comes to the end of himself. He has his, what we could call a kind of a conversion experience. And did you notice that the way he chooses to end the movie is to, if we wanted to think about it in conspiratorial terms, he kills off his alter. He kills off the fun, cool brother, because the fun, cool brother was just a persona, an alter, a creation of his mind, or a multiple personality alter that he needed to get through some of these problems, right? So this comes up in the psychology and the psychiatry of people who have MPD, DID. They have to integrate these, right? And when the integration occurs, they often speak of it like the alter undergoing a death. I don't know how that works. I can't explain all that to you. I've watched countless documentaries and read countless books on that, and it's that seems to be real, but I can't explain that to you. I don't know how the mind works. The mind is a mystery, right? So don't ask me to explain the mechanics of it. I don't know, but it seems to be the case. I think the evolutionary theme, we could definitely critique, the Big Bang, stupid evolutionary stuff, but I think in the film, evolution is just a device for the characters evolving. And really all of the characters are just aspects of the Charlie Kaufman character, right? So he needs to evolve. And he needs to figure out how to get out of this narcissistic, solipsistic, Ouroboros trap of eternal return and find something worth living for, something that is hope, something that isn't pure disappointment. And the Meryl Streep character is in a similar situation, right? She's looking for the same thing too. She wants to leave her marriage. She wants to have an affair with Florida man. And she ends up in this situation where she does drugs with Florida man and has a terrible experience. And he is exploiting her and taking pictures of these chicks, right? And putting them up on his GeoCities dirty internet page. And so it ends up being this big disaster, all under the cover of looking for this elusive blue orchid, which doesn't exist. Actually, it's all symbolic of the unattainable. And then she comes to the end of herself and she wants her normal life back. She just wants to go back to what was her normal life. I did notice one thing that was interesting that always pops up in... Have you noticed how often they use the trope of the sophisticated city person and the low IQ country rube, right? And I like the fact that in this one, she wasn't actually the sophisticated city woman. Like, she was just as bad as Florida man, right? Her character is not very redeemable. And she ends up there in the swamps crying over the fact that this just total scumbag dude gets eaten by an alligator, right? Sophisticated city folk treat rubes like science experiments, right? They're always this snobby sort of like better than you, and then they want to do a science experiment expose for their journalism on country people and how backwards and unsophisticated they are. But the irony, of course, is that cities are giant science experiments. The sophisticated cosmopolitan city coomer is just as much a idiot as the backroads country rube. And I can say that from experience. I grew up a backroads country rube. I lived many years in the city. People in the cities are not more sophisticated. They might know a little bit more about authors and philosophers, but what does that really gain them? If you can't skin a buck and run a trout line. We can skin a buck, run a trout line, and a country boy can survive. Country folks can survive. We say grace, and we say amen. If you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. Singing song of the South. Sweet potato pie and I shut my mouth. Gone the wind. Ain't nobody looking back again. I want to talk about me. I want to talk about myself. I want to talk about I like how it went from Hank to Alabama to Toby. It went from bad to worse. Actually, Hank's not that bad. But I will give the City Folk 1 point for not really liking country music post 1980. Post 1980s, okay? Like after outlaw country, there's no good country songs. I'm sorry. I don't like any of them. And at least City Folk could figure out that country songs are pretty much sucky, dude. I used to have to ride the bus for like 45 minutes. If you live in Tennessee, you grew up as a kid in Tennessee, like you had a bus ride to school that was at least going to be 45 minutes. I don't care where you lived. You could live right next door to the freaking elementary school. You still had to ride the bus for 45 minutes. I don't even know why. It didn't even make sense, but you did. You had to. You could have just walked across the street to the school. No, you still got to ride the bus for 45 minutes. And that old bus driver woman, all she would play was whatever, Froggy. I mean, it wasn't Froggy. This was pre-Froggy, but oh my gosh, dude. Imagine every day. I don't even like country. I might have liked it if I hadn't been force-fed country for what's 45 minutes was 45 minutes, like an hour and a half. I don't like math anymore. 45 minutes plus 45 minutes, that was like 6 hours, dude. Math, time is a social construct. I identify 45 minutes plus 45 minutes as 6 hours. And if it's a bunch of damn Toby Keith songs, it feels like 8 hours. I want to talk about me. I want to talk about me. My, number one, that's I. Oh my gosh. Is there anybody worse than Toby Keith? I can't think of anybody worse than Toby Keith. Red, white, and blue, we'll stick our boot in your ass. We're the red, white, and blue, we'll put a boot in your face. I mean, what's the one about getting vengeance on the chicks that wouldn't date him when he was in high school? And he's like, what? How's that one go? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The one where he's like, where he's famous now so he can brag about it. I'm ranting about, how do we get on to country music? I don't even know, but, City Folk. Oh man, what is that horrible Toby Keith song? You know what I'm talking about, right? I mean, they're all horrible, but like there's a couple that are more horrible than the others. That's the military propaganda one. We'll put a boot in your ass because we're Uncle Sam. 9/11, we'll never forget. How do you like, that's it. How do you like me now? Now that I'm on my way. You still think I'm crazy? Standing here today. You don't love me, little. How do you like me now? Does anybody have a more punchable face than this dude? I mean, you know this dude is just a pure douchebag. There is no way that dude could be cool at all. At all. Like, this is the kind of dude that has, like, one beer and it wants to throw firecrackers at your face. Right? That's the face of a dude throwing freaking sparklers in your face. Shooting Roman candles at your face from like 5 feet away. You just know this dude is like the ultimate douchebag. And 1 point for sophisticated, cosmopolitan, degenerate, nihilistic city coomers is that they see this stuff and they think, that's the country people? These are the country people? What's wrong with the country people? They're crazy. They're all Toby Keith. They're all Toby Keith. I can't stand this. Who? I want to talk about me. Who's your daddy now? But guess what, city sophisticates? You're all a bunch of dumb, degenerate, atheist, nihilist coombots that are also mind controlled. It's just a different kind of mind control. These are just like dumb country people. You are even dumber because you think you're sophisticated, but you live in a giant social engineering experiment known as the city.
Metropolitan Coombats. Metropolitan Coombats. We're sophisticated because we're in New York. And we got a lot of philosophy books. And we got a lot of electrical engineers. They don't even know how to do that in the country, people. They don't have electricity. They use the outhouses still, and they got horses that they ride around on.
No, sorry, we have electricity, but we do still use outhouses. The South has electricity in the outhouses, so we have moved up a step. Do we ride horses? Some of the Amish people still ride horses. You will go out and see the Amish people riding horses still. Yes, that does occur. So the one point that Cosmopolitan City Coombots got for realizing that country music, especially from the 80s onward, sucks, is immediately taken away because they're also under the exact same social engineering plan of becoming miserable city enemy, having ennui infested Coombots in the city. So honky tonk, but donka donk, keeping perfect rhythm makes me want to sing along. Got it going on like Donkey Kong. Hooey! Going on like Donkey Kong? What the heck does that mean? That doesn't make any sense. People are like, your stuff you do, it doesn't make sense. The stuff you're talking about, your stream, they don't make sense. Okay, one of the biggest country songs is Honky Tonk Badonka Donk. She's got it going on like Donkey Kong. Keeping perfect rhythm make me want to sing along. Does that make any sense? And how much money does... Who's that guy? I don't remember all these. I don't know any of these country dudes. Not Toby. Toby Keith is the worst for sure, but... Honky Tonk, but Donka Donk. Trace Adkins. That's that guy. I'm trying to think of him. You remember when in X-Files, Mulder was tripping shrooms and he walked into this video? That was pretty badass. That's like the only good version of this. I have to grant. I'll grant Mulder some points for being a sophisticated city FBI man who, when he's given shrooms, stumbles into, for whatever reason, he stumbles into Honky Tonk Badonka Donk. That was pretty funny. But you're like, do you understand that it doesn't require making sense? Like, making sense seems to more and more be an overall negative. Like, it seems the more that your stuff doesn't make sense, apparently that's what works. So I don't know. I'm starting to feel like Charlie Kaufman right here, overanalyzing, right? But thank you for those super chats. If you would leave another big fat one to justify all this madness and nonsense and craziness. By the way, guys, please, thank you so much. All the Clips channels, continue to do the Clips channels. That helps promote the show. That helps get the word out. Bring in new people. I love all those Clips channels. Everybody, please take them and do them however you want to do them. Clip them. I don't have time to do all these clips and stuff all the time, so when you guys do it, that's helpful. Continue to request that I go on shows. That's very helpful. Looking forward, as we said, Sunday to Eddie Bravo. It's going to be a good show. I may have to take Willy's one. I don't know if we have time to get to Willy's Wonderland, but this ended up being a very philosophical adaptation analysis. I did appreciate Adaptation more than I did the last time I watched it. I think the last time I watched it, I was just kind of like, drugs, mind control, meta. What is this? What's going on? Right.
Now it seems to make more sense. And I think I have solved it. There was a lot of things I didn't notice I've seen this movie 3 or 4 times. And the first couple times, I didn't notice him reading Hegel stuck in his head. I didn't pay attention to the Ouroboros reference. I'd forgotten the references to being John Malkovich and the disassociation there. I wonder if Charlie Kaufman if he suffers from any of these things, or if he's just using them as literary devices. I don't know. But what the great part of this movie, to get back to that, is just that he ends up learning from the goofy brother Alter, and he learns from the screenplay formulaic lecturer guy that he needs to end the story, and he needs to develop the characters. And he himself is the character who develops and learns his lesson, that he needs to get over himself, and that there is hope. There are things worth living for in life. And the film ends with him leaving the studio after he had written all this, and he's like, well, that was a good thing, and there is hope. So it ends up being a positive message. And it ends up including the elements that his idiot brother said needed to be in the film. The organized crime, the murder, the sex and the drugs, right? All of these elements needed to be in the story to tell a story. Yeah, I don't know when Eddie Bravo will post the interview, but we're recording it Sunday night, and then it will be on his new Rockfin show. If you guys don't know, Eddie Bravo has a podcast now that he's doing on Rockfin. So shout out to him coming over to Rockfin. If you would like to get over on Rockfin, I highly recommend it, because in this claustrophobic climate of clamping down on the words that we can and can't say, you might want to head on over to Rockfin to be over there when we end up having to be over on Rockfin. Because Rockfin, of course, is a awesome free speech based platform. And by the way, I want to keep you guys in the loop. We're not moving away from high IQ content. Don't anybody get the impression that we're not going to be doing high IQ content because I've decided that this is the formula that works the best. See, I was just trying to figure out the right length. I seem to do better with the long form content because that's how I can make money. We make a living from super chats. Can't make a living from 10-minute videos when the channel is demonetized, and when 10-minute videos get the same amount of views, maybe a few thousand more, than a 2-hour podcast riffing talking stream. So the last several podcasts and live streams, I have felt comfortable with the perfect blending of the absurd, the philosophical, the theological, the literary, the film, all into one. That's what we want. That's what I've been searching for. And I actually like this approach better than it all divided up. That does not mean we're not going to be doing lectures. I will still be doing the individual high IQ lectures. Don't worry. But this is it. This is how I feel the most comfortable, and everybody seems to be really enjoying this format. So that's what we will be doing. And if you like that format, give me them super chats, baby. That's how I know you love me. Love points. Money equals love points. Period. By the way, if you would like to become a more loving person in the sense of gaining your mojo, in the sense of eros, some of the eros, baby, then you head on over to chalk.com right now, the show sponsor. That's CHOQ.com. And they got a nice little product for you called the Long Jack Tomcat. That will boost your testosterone. It's proven to boost that T. Man, it's getting hot up in here. It's getting hot. I sit under these stage lamps for y'all. Over here sweating like a pig, baby. But you want to avail yourself of that chalk.com. Get on over to the Chalk. Get yourself some of those adaptogens, some of those highly, highly purified rainforest sourced adaptogens. They're put through the most stringent purification process to give you the best supplements out there. If you're looking to boost your energy, I would recommend just straight up Action 2.0. But beware, it will give you energy. If you're looking for focus and mental clarity, Jamie has become a huge fan of the She Legit. She takes it every day now. That's a good one, especially for the ladies. If you are looking for an overall nutrient supplementation for your diet, I'd say the daily. The daily is what you're looking for. If you're looking for, as I said, that testosterone boost, especially for them dudes, especially for them bros, where is my Tonkat? Somebody done stole the Tonkat. So Jamie's up in here trying to take Jamie, don't take that testosterone now. That's the wrong one for you. So somebody stole it. Probably, no, I'm not going to say that. We got a few people living in the basement. They might have took it. That's a joke. That's a joke. Clarice. But whoever took the Tonkat, you definitely want to get over there to chalk.com. You can boost, it's proven to boost testosterone, right? Who needs extra testosterone? A lot of people. A lot of people. See a lot of people out there. A lot of people looking droopy. Drooping over. Droopy. Got droop syndrome. Stop drooping over. Stand up. Straighten up like a man, boy. So drooping over. Looking like a sad child. Looking like an abused child. Stand up, boy. Sit straight. Arch your back. And get that chalk.com right now. But listen, if you're going over there to get that, you got to use the promo code J50. That's 50% off. However, there's also the promo code J53LIFE. J53LIFE. That will give you a recurring subscription for those excellent products. That way you don't have to keep putting it in and keep doing it. So you get a little more discount if you use the J53LIFE promo code. And also remember, there's the additive chocolate. Jamie drinks this every day. I think she's over there, drinking chocolate milk every day. So quit drinking chocolate milk. We don't do that around these parts. And she says, no, it's not chocolate milk. It's chocolate. And I say, in that case, you have my blessing. Drink the chocolate. She drank a little too much the other night, and she couldn't go to sleep. So do not underestimate these chalk products. They will keep you awake. They will give you a boost. It is no joke. Everybody knows the time I took 2 Tomcats in one day, and I couldn't sleep. So don't do that. I mean, it's no joke. It will give you what you're looking for. Rachel Wilson for $5. I'm stoked to see you on Eddie Bravo. Have fun. Oh, wait, that was yesterday. My bad. Well, thank you again for that super chat from yesterday. I think that alert box is not showing up. I got to get that fixed. But it's funny that the last super chat was Hegel is a mind virus from yesterday. And then we were talking about Hegel tonight. Encore $5. Can you sing Pay Piggy one more time, a cappella, and then all the chads and hoes in the chat, for all the chads and hoes in the chat? Give me one more super chance, Pay Piggy. Give me one more super chat, Pay Piggy. Ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh. How's that? Is that good? I'm starting to get a little bit clamped. I feel like I'm gonna tear up. BMX 1966, $10. Thank you, Keith. Thank you so much. Keep up the good work, baby. You too. You too. Rachel Wilson, $5. Congratulations on 90K, even though it's not exactly 90K. It's close enough. We round up around these parts. Thank you so much, Rachel. She says, you are a national treasure. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to steal $5. I'm going to steal $5. Maybe we get Nicolas Cage to steal the Declaration of Independence and delete out all of the Enlightenment gobbledygook out of it. I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence. I'm going to delete and erase all the Enlightenment gobbledygook. Bayes Lit Analyzer 911 in terms of dollars. Congratulations, JD. Shout out to all the characters. We have had a vast array of characters that have developed on their own. They're almost like alternate personalities in my head. I feel like Charlie Kaufman again. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the cavalcade of characters over the years. I mean, it only took us 13 freaking years to get to 100K on YouTube. That's only because we weren't uploading consistently until the last few years. But we're happy to have what we have, and onward to 100K. I think for 100K we're going to do Mystery Science Theater rifftrax style riffing. I think we'll do ROTOR or something like that. It's so much fun to do fun things, for the party streams. We may have to wait. My battery's about to die, and I don't have the cord in here, so we may have to wait until next time to do Massive Talent. Steezy, thank you again, Bayes Lit. Steezy says for $3. Congratulations on 90K. Is there any chance that you will be doing more debate breakdowns in the future? Well, the debate breakdowns are part of what made me think that this is the right formula for me. This is the right niche style stride for me, doing it this way. So I would imagine, yes, people seem to enjoy those. I have a lot of fun riffing and commenting on debates. It's just finding the right debate is the main thing. Yeah, when we find the next good debate to riff on and analyze, we'll do it. Alex, $5. Thank you so much, Alex. Diet Soda Light, $20. By the way, if you enjoyed tonight's style of discussion, no, that wasn't me tooting. That was the accidental hand. Could you make like fart sounds with your hand or whatever? There you go. See? Yes, I can. That's worth one super chat, right? Can you make fart noises with your underarm? Can you whistle? The whistle go woo woo. I forgot what I was saying. Diet Soda Light, $20. Thank you so much. He says Jordan Peterson singing the Gummy Bear theme song. Now, my Jordan has gotten a little weak, I have to say. It's been a while since I haven't listened to Jordan in a while, so I feel like it's kind of subpar.
No, well, that depends on what you mean. Depends on what you mean. Well, I don't know. Well, I don't know. Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere, eh? High adventure that's beyond compare. They're the gummy bears.
That was kind of weak, but I promise you, I will work on my JVP, get it back up to at least tolerable. That was kind of weak. I'll get it back up to normal form. Rachel Wilson again for $5, but thank you so much, Diet Soda Light, much appreciated. Says I had to send another one because even though I love the serious work, this Toby Keith impression had me laughing so hard I needed my inhaler. You got a asthma attack from? It might have been Toby Keith causing the asthma attack, not me. I mean, I could see you having an allergic reaction to Toby Keith songs. I mean, watch now. I'll be on the news. I'll be all beat up from. I'll be out in Nashville and Toby Keith. I'll be at some bar and Toby Keith will beat the shit out of me. Here's a boot in your ass, cause I remember 9/11, right? Want to talk about me? Want to talk about I'm gonna give you a black eye. You son of a bitch. And then he's got this other stupid song about the bar where all the religions and all the cultures and Democrats and Republicans all sing and drink together. It's one of the worst videos. It's even worse than the other songs. So wait, he wants to drink beer with the Muslims and every other culture in the bar in that song, but he also wants to bomb all the countries and put a boot up your ass. I kind of think Toby Keith's presuppositions are in conflict. There's an eternal presuppositional conflict within the Toby Keith paradigm. That's what I'm starting to think. You know the one I'm talking about? That stupid cartoon. It's like a jib jab. Is there anything more unfunny than jib jab? Remember that? The whole video of Toby Keith is like a jib jab cartoon. And it's like the Arabs and evangelical pastors in the bar with Toby Keith. And we're drinking our beer and we're celebrating the world government and we're Toby Keith. It's the worst thing you've ever seen. Hands down. Easy. That's the only reason I have to admit to the city metropolitan coomers that they're kind of right. Like, this stuff is preposterous. Jethro, $15. Thank you so much, Jethro. Long-time mod. Love you. Jethro, he says, shout out. Congrats on 90K. Hollywood 3. I also thought that we would maybe generate some more people if I went ahead and put 90K. But I did get about 500 this week on YouTube. So I was like, all right, maybe we can get to 90 by Thursday. But I think by Saturday or Sunday at least we'll hit 90K. Hollywood 3, baby. $5. Is there going to be Esoteric Hollywood 3? I believe there will be. I'm working on it. I got about 30 pages. Got so many projects going right now that it's difficult. There's another book that's coming out, right? So I'm doing a self-published thing of my best essays. That will be out hopefully in a few months. It'll be about 150 page, just kind of a little easy read book. I kind of went back, revamped some old classics that everybody's forgotten about. And then I'm also, as I said, working on Esoteric Hollywood 3. So yeah, there should be one. Exposing Powerful Lies, $5. Congratulations on almost 90K. Shout out to all the Chad nerds that have been here for the longest time. Oh, for the longest time. Oh. You get a Boomer Billy Joel rendition there because you've been here for the longest time. I have seen you in the moderator chat. Ooh, for the longest time. We didn't start the fire. That's the ultimate Boomer, I'm immune to any responsibility song. Right. One more super. Give me one more super chance. $15. I like that name right there. Could you do a rendition of Nic Cage singing Johnny Cash's Hurt? I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. The needle tears a hole. The only thing that's real. How's that? That was all right. Y'all getting crazy. Y'all giving me these, like, throw me whammies, dude. These difficult ones. Nicolas Cage singing Johnny Cash Hurt. I think that was all right, though. Craig Schaefer, $5. Peace, bro. Peace. Peace like Toby Keith. Chief Keith. Chief Toby Keith. Craig Schaefer, Vibranium. Right? Sorry, Vibranium, for my accidental block. Shout out to Vibranium for $5. Congratulations on 90K. Congratulations on being you and getting through my Spurg filter. Sometimes the Spurg filter doesn't work, and I misinterpret things, and it slips through. You slip through. I didn't understand. I thought you were one of the normies coming at me, and you was making jokes. There's been a bunch of those over the years, by the way. A lot of people making the jokes, and I can't tell the normies from the jokes. Y'all psyoping me. You don't need to see his identification. These aren't the Spugs you're looking for. Teton, $45, $5. Your diamond stuff brought me here. I stayed for the impressions.
The diamond stuff brought you here. Total heresy. The Council of Florence.
Anybody else? Thank you guys so much. Be sure to hit like and share. I know we didn't get to all the movies. We will, though. We'll get to Massive Talent and whatnot later on down the road. There's still quite a few Nicolas Cage movies we have not yet done that are fun. There's always another Nicolas Cage movie to do. Like, we'll be doing live streams on Nicolas Cage movies until the end of the world, bro. Right? Pano, what's up, Pano? Shout out to a boy, Pano. Jordan Peterson singing Pay Piggy. Oh man, they get crazier and crazier.
Well,
I got it. My Jordan's off, man. I can't remember the right like level of Jordan.
Well, you know, it's got to be a question of what you're going to do. Well, I don't know.
That's a little better. I'm practicing getting it right.
Give me one more super chats. Give me one more super chance. No, it's a pig.
I can't do it. You got me with that one, Pano. I'm sorry. That one's too hard. There was the Jordan Peterson rapping, though. That one was at least... I mean, I can't find that video, but I've got it somewhere on my Twitter feed. Craig Schaefer, $10. Thank you for banning this boomer. Did I ban you too? Well, that's just part of the process of the initiation into being a Chad nerd. At one point, you probably get banned. Remember when I first met Tristan? Right? When Tristan first saw my stuff, he was sassy, boy. He was sassy. He didn't know who I was or what we do. And I remember like the first comment, like he was all sassy in the comments on Instagram. I was like, who the is this dude? Look at this bald dude being all sassy. Ooh, diet man. Watch my diet videos. Ooh, meat. Ooh, carnivore. Ooh, I'm bald. Look at this beard. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, I'm in a tank top of Tristan. Right, I'm being silly. Right, I'm mocking Tristan in a fun way. And lo and behold, he had to pass through the Chad Nerd initiation, and he made it. So don't worry. Don't freak out. Everybody goes through a Chad Nerd initiation. Most people who come around these parts, they first see this stuff, they can't stand it. Man, I hate that Dyer dude. Dude, is there anybody worse on the internet than Jay Dyer? He is dope. And then like a month later, man, I love this dude. I'm binging his shit. All right. I can't tell you how many of those there are. So we open... with arms wide open, under the moonlight, welcome to this space, I'll show you everything, Chad Nerds wide open. It's just a big love fest, bro. It's Creed up in here. We got a Creed up in here. And it's just, don't be a douchebag. That's it. That's the only Creed up in here. Otherwise... I'm Scott Stapp, welcoming you with arms wide open. You hate me at first? That's okay, man. When I first saw Tim and Eric, I didn't get it. When I first saw Sam Hine, I didn't get it. I was like, what is this? Then 6 months later, it's like, that's all I watched, right? There's a learning curve. There's an initiation curve here too, man. And it's okay, dude. And I know, but half the people in here hated me. Half the people in here were like, could not stand me the first time they saw the debate. This guy's an asshole. Look at his debates. And you know what I said to these people who hated me? I showed them love. With arms wide open, under the sun, welcome. Can't do it. Hurting Wish, $10. What worldview is believing in demons that are evil just ideas and concepts that come into people's mind? Or that God are ideas of good which work against each other? I think most atheistic materialistic worldviews would believe that demons are just